No walls, no locks, no lamps. You lie down in the dark while animals with better hearing, better noses, and better night vision move somewhere beyond the firelight. And then you do the most dangerous thing possible. You close your eyes. So how did early humans sleep without becoming somebody else's meal? There was no single prehistoric bedtime. Human ancestors lived across different continents, climates, and hundreds of thousands of years. Archaeology can show us traces of fires, plants, tools, and sleeping surfaces. It cannot show us exactly who snored, who stayed awake, or who was afraid of the dark. But when those traces are combined with research among modern communities living without electric light, a surprisingly clear pattern appears. Our ancestors did not solve the night with one brilliant invention. They built layers of protection, location, fire, other people, clean bedding, and the useful fact that a group never sleeps quite as completely as one person does. Most other great apes build sleeping nests above the ground. Humans are different. We became unusually committed ground sleepers. That was a dangerous change. On the ground, a sleeping body was easier to reach. Large cats, hyenas, snakes, biting insects, cold soil, rain, and rival humans all became part of the problem. Yet the ground also offered space. A group could gather together. A fire could burn nearby. Food and tools could be shared. Stories, plans, and warnings could continue after sunset. Researchers have proposed that this safer social sleep helped humans evolve shorter but more intense sleep than other primates. We spend less time asleep, yet a relatively large share of that sleep is deep and rich in rapid eye movement sleep. That idea is still a hypothesis, but it suggests something important. The first real bed may not have been an object. It may have been a protected place created by a group. Before anyone lay down, the camp itself mattered. A good sleeping place needed dry ground, some protection from wind, and enough visibility to notice an approach. A cliff, rock shelter, tree line, or raised patch of land could help. But the familiar image of a cozy cave is misleading. Caves were valuable precisely because other animals wanted them too. Hyenas, leopards, and humans sometimes used the same shelters at different times. The safest place was not necessarily the most enclosed. It was the place where danger could not arrive silently. Branches could crack. Loose stones could move. A nervous animal could give a warning. Smoke and human scent could travel outward. Nothing made the camp impossible to attack. The goal was to make an approach difficult, visible, and noisy. Fire changed the night, but not in the way films usually show it. At Wonderwerk Cave in South Africa, microscopic traces of burned plant material and bone provide evidence of fire inside the cave around 1 million years ago. Later sites show that fire became a repeated and increasingly controlled part of human life. A fire provided warmth, light, smoke, and a center for the group. It could discourage some predators and insects. It also allowed people to remain active after sunset instead of disappearing into darkness. But fire was never a magical wall. A small flame could die. Wind could scatter sparks. Rain could smother it. Predators could wait beyond the light. And keeping a fire alive required fuel, attention, and knowledge. The most valuable part may have been the combination, flame beside many alert humans. A predator was not merely approaching a fire, it was approaching smoke, movement, voices, stones, wooden spears, and a group capable of fighting back. There is another protection that leaves almost no archaeological trace. Different people become tired at different times. In 2017, researchers monitored sleep among Hadza hunter-gatherers in Tanzania. Across 20 days, every person in the group was simultaneously scored as asleep for only 18 minutes in total. During 99.8% of the sampled night, at least one person was awake or in a light stage of sleep. This did not require a formal guard rota. Older people tended to sleep earlier. Younger people tended to stay awake later. individuals woke briefly during the night. The group produced its own loose chain of awareness simply because human body clocks are not identical. We cannot assume that a present-day community is a frozen copy of the Stone Age, but the finding demonstrates how mixed ages and different sleep rhythms can create protection without anyone announcing, "You take the first watch." Alone, waking for a moment is an inconvenience. In a group, it can become a security system. Comfort was not separate from survival. At Border Cave in South Africa, archaeologists found evidence that people were laying down broad-leafed grass around 200,000 years ago. Some of the grass bedding was placed over layers of ash. The grass softened the surface and insulated bodies from cold ground. Ash can obstruct crawling insects and may help control pests. Old bedding could also be burned, clearing parasites and rubbish before a fresh layer was added. This was not a bedroom. The same prepared surface may have been used for sleeping, sitting, working, and tending a fire. But it reveals a sophisticated idea. People were not merely finding shelter. They were modifying a living space to make it cleaner and safer. Later sites preserved deliberate plant bedding, sometimes including aromatic plants with insect-repelling properties. Long before mattresses, humans were already solving problems of damp, dirt, cold, and bites with layers of vegetation and ash. The difference between a bare floor and a grass bed may sound small. Over thousands of nights, small advantages mattered. Better insulation meant less energy spent staying warm. Fewer insects meant fewer bites and less disturbed sleep. A cleaner camp meant fewer pests living exactly where people rested. Early humans probably did not fall asleep at sunset and remain unconscious until dawn. Studies of several communities without electric light show that sleep often begins hours after sunset. Evening firelight is dim compared with a modern bulb. People talk, repair tools, prepare food, settle children, and allow the air temperature to fall before sleeping. The night is then broken by movement. Someone feeds the fire. Someone checks a sound. A child wakes. An older person rises early. Sleep happens inside the life of the camp, not behind a closed bedroom door. That makes the usual question slightly wrong. Early humans did not need a method that guaranteed nobody would ever be attacked. No method could do that. They needed to lower the risk enough that deep sleep became possible, night after night, generation after generation. So how did early humans sleep without being eaten? They chose places where danger could be detected. They brought fire into the night. They slept close to people whose bodies kept to different hours. They used grass to escape the cold ground and ash to make the sleeping surface less welcoming to pests. And when one layer failed, another could still provide warning. The predators did not disappear. Humans simply became a more difficult target. The greatest protection was not the flame, the cave, or the spear by itself. It was cooperation. A solitary animal closes its eyes and loses contact with the world. A human group can close many eyes while the group itself never becomes completely blind. Today, sleep means withdrawing from danger behind walls, glass, and locks. For most of human history, it meant creating a small island of safety together, then trusting that island long enough to dream. Before bedrooms, before beds, and long before comfort, that trust may have been one of humanity's most important survival technologies.